Well, hello and welcome to our reading of Homer, and we're reading Odyssey Book 6, and we're up to line 186. Now, prior to this, of course, Odysseus has introduced himself to Nausikaa and has begged her for assistance, and she now replies, and he describes some of the terrible things and sufferings that he's gone through in order to get her pity. So he says, "Ton dau Nausikaa lukolenos antion auda." So white-armed Nausikaa spoke opposite him. So she replied to him, "Xene, O stranger, epaudik kako udi afroni photi oikas." So since you seem, we have to understand the verb to be ute neither, so you do not resemble, the oika plus the dative. So, a stranger, since you do not resemble a kakos, a base man, nor a man who is aphron, who's got no sense, a senseless man, a stupid man. Now we get this photi here, and as I mentioned before, there are two words phos, one with a circumflex force, meaning light, and there's phos, and photos is the genitive. Here we get the dative form, meaning a man. So you do not resemble either a base man nor one who is foolish. But Zeus himself, Neme, distributes, so Olympian Zeus himself distributes Olbon prosperity anthropoisi to mortals. Eslois adi kakoisi, to the good and to the bad. Hekasto, to each one, hopos ethelasi, this is the subjunctive, third person singular, just as he wishes. Because he's been describing his misfortune, and she says, well, Zeus gives good fortune or bad to people just as he wishes. Kaipu soitadi doke, and perhaps he gave these things to you. So this tade refers to all the troubles that he's been describing. Sede cre tetlamen empes. Now that cre, as I mentioned before, is originally a noun, so there you have to apply the verb to be. So nevertheless, there is need for you, tetlamen, this is an infinitive from tlao, to endure it. So in any case, you've got to just put up with it. Nunde, but now, epe hemeteren te polin taigion ekanes, since you have come to our city and our land, uti un esthetois duesiae uti tu alu. Now the tu here is for tinos, that indefinite. This is the probably a future here from duomai. It's second person uncontracted singular. So therefore, neither will you lack, it takes a genitive, partitive genitive, will you lack clothing, nor any other thing, hone, of which, oika, it is fitting for, is appropriate for a wretched hikatan, this is a suppliant, understand to lack, one who has met up with someone. So it's all very compact, this line here. So nor would you lack any of those things which a suppliant who is met with someone, or who has encountered someone, a wretched suppliant who has encountered someone would be in need of. Tricky line to get into English because it's fairly compact. And Astu toi Daixo, I will show to you the Astu, the city, Ereo de toi onoma an. So unima for onoma, just for the sake of meter. So, and it's also an ionic form. So I will speak the name of the people to you. Phaeaces mentendi polin kai Gaian akusi. The Phaeacians hold this city and land. Ego Amy dego thugater megaletoros alkinoi or Oyo, I should say. So I am the daughter of great-hearted Alkinoos. The ek probably goes with the two here. So tu de ek phaeakon ekatai katos te te. And the strength and might of the Achaeans is held. So we've got two different things, but this is singular, so they just take a singular subject. So the strength and might of the Phaeacians is held at his hand or by him. Era, now this A we've probably come across before, but this is from that old verb ami, which means to say. So this is the past tense of it. It survives in Attic in the expression eidahos, and he said, which you see commonly in Plato. And the ra is that ara, so thus she spoke, and she gave orders to her beautifully tressed, so to her servants with beautiful locks of hair, beautifully tressed servants. Statimoi amphipoloi. So it's something like, the moi is an epic dative here. It says almost like please. So please just stand here, my servants. And we get a question. The posse, we normally would have a double sigma. This is a dual from pous podos, to do with the feet. So having seen a man, are you fleeing with your 2 feet, or on your 2 feet? E me putina dos meneon vas themenai andron. This is the infinitive from Amy. This is the second person plural from the idea from the verb of speaking or sometimes thinking. This is a question, so we've got a question here and we've got may. So surely you do not say, or perhaps almost think, understand him to be, there's the to be, a certain one among the men who are hostile to us, the men who are our enemies. Uk est hutos ane dieros brotos udi genetai, hos ken phaeakon andron es gaian heketai de iteta feron. The tricky word here is this dieros. It's a very rare and obscure word. It has a range of possible meanings. It can mean active or agile, possibly lively or vigorous. You may recognize it from later Greek, where it often means moist. So we can render that man, uk estin, does not exist. So that man who is a living mortal, so that man exists not as a living mortal, nor genetai, will he be born, hos, who might come into the land of Phaeacian men, bearing de ioteta, bearing hostility, or bringing hostility. This is connected with deios is warlike, so this is the noun from this, bringing hostility. Malaga philoi athanatoisin, so understand we are mala, very dear to the immortals. Oikiomen, uncontracted here, as you often see these uncontracted forms. So we live on the Polyklusto, the much surging sea. Kludzo is used of the breaking of waves and so on, so much surging sea. Aponathi, away, so separate. Eskatoi, at the ends of the earth. Udi tis armi broton epimizgatai alos, nor does any other of mortals have contact with us, epimizgatai, mingle with us or have contact with us. Al hoditis dustenos alomenos enthadi hikane, ton nun kre komein. So she's saying that he's not come here with any particular intent. She says, but this unfortunate man has come here wandering. So he's lost his way and he's wandered in here almost by accident. And now there is need, komio is to tend to ton him. So now there is need to look after him. Proskardios eis in hapantes, xenoi kaiptokoi te, dosis te olige te phile te. For the all strangers and poor men are, pros with the genitive here, from or belonging to Zeus, they all belong to Zeus, and a dosis, a gift, well, it is small and yet dear. So the sense is here that a gift, because he's asked for food and clothing, so a gift, perhaps although it is small, it is also philae, it is also welcome. Al doti amphipoloi, but give, O servants, give to the stranger brosin teposin, food and drink, and lusati, and bathe him in the river. Hothe, where there is, now the epi here perhaps might mean something like besides, or there is overshadowing or something. There is skepas, shelters from the wind. So where there is also, in addition, some shelter from the wind. Hos Ephat, and thus she spoke, Hai de estan de kai aleloi sikeliusan. So they stood where they were, and they gave orders to one another. Kad dar aduse he san episkepas. Now this is kata here, and the alpha's been elided for no particular reason other than meter. So the alpha's been elided, and then the tor, which is an unvoiced dental, has turned into a voiced dental before this voiced dental. So the cad is really kata. And it goes with the asan from hisdo, to settle or to set down. So they set Odysseus down episkepas at the shelter, Hos, as Nausikaa bid, Nausikaa, daughter of great-hearted Alkinoos. Pa, now this again from para, and it's going with the verb, it's a preverb with tithemi. So they placed beside hoi, for him, for auto, they placed beside him a pharos. This is a cloak, and a kitona, a tunic, kaihemata, and clothes. And they gave the supple oil, the soft oil perhaps, in the golden oil flask. So they gave to him. Enogon, this is from anoga, which only occurs in this perfect form, and this is the past tense of it, means to bid. So they bid him, mean for Auton then, loose thy middle to bathe himself in the streams of the river. Dera tot amphipoloisin met eudadios Odysseus. And glorious Odysseus then, at that time, addressed the servants. So you might say, perhaps, indeed then, at that time, did glorious Odysseus address the servants, speak to the servants. Amphipoloi, O servants, steth huto apopros. Stand thus, away over there, basically. Offra ego autos, halman hamoin, apolusamai amphidel eloio, so that I might wash off. The halme is this salty scum that he's got from the sea, so I might wash off this salty dirt. This is a dual genitive here from omos, the shoulders, for my two shoulders. Amphielio, let's keep that there, and the main verb is chrisomai, and I will anoint what was the word here? I will anoint myself around with oil. Ergaderon apokroos estin aloife. For indeed it is a long, so it's literally, oil is away from my skin for a long time. So it's been a long time since my body was oiled. Anten duc an ego ge lo esamai, and I would not indeed bathe myself, Antone, in front of you, opposite you. I dare my gar gumnustai kuresin eu plocamoisin metelthone, for I am embarrassed, I am ashamed to be naked, having come among fair-tressed maidens, beautiful-haired maidens. And so he tells them to go away so he can wash himself. And that's the end of that little section.